Good morning and happy Tuesday to you. Coming up, cheeky Corrie window cleaner Graham Proctor. That's actor Craig Gazey on his sham marriage storyline. And later on, he plays the biggest sleazeball in Benidorm, poolside barman Matteo. That's actor Jake Canuso. He's also here. And it's the final of our junior hairdressing competition, Jamie's Apprentice. Are you going to come in?
No.
Will you come in?
No.
Come on, you look good. We've both been Jamie'd today, although I don't think he might want to put his name to this. Ozzy Osbourne.
What do you think? Huh?
I think we look terrifying.
This is
Do you know what we look like?
horrifying.
We look like two people who would queue up for the X Factor audition.
I whip my hair back and forth, I whip my hair back and forth. Oh, it's a flick. There we are. That's good. No, do you know what? I'm not feeling this.
You're not?
We'll find out a little bit later how the two remaining finalists, Romy and Brad, have been getting on with their last challenge to style the models for the fashion item on today's show. And I think now might be the time that... Oh.
There we go. Imagine if this came off as well.
This might.
Right, Jason Gardner has some key looks for two of this season's trends, vintage and romantic. Don't miss those at midday.
Phil Vickery has been off to Wales to meet some muscle men for this week's instalment of his Coastal Cuisine series.
And there's more food when Gino D'Acampo serves up his cheesy potato bake. That's at 11:45. Also today, as the UK's first fertility advice service for gay people opened its doors yesterday, we'll be hearing the views for and against such a service at 10:50.
Colleen is in the hub, as usual. We'd like to know your thoughts. Morning, Colleen.
Morning. Good morning. Yes, let us know your thoughts on our gay parenting discussion. Also in today's papers, with reports of a family in Coventry who have apparently been haunted by a poltergeist. We'd like to hear any spooky stories you might have. Oof. Email us at thismorning@itv.com, tweet us or have your say on our Facebook page. We need your thoughts and stories by midday today, so send them in.
Thank you very much indeed, Colleen. Also today, March is the month for ovarian cancer awareness. And later, Dr. Chris is here with a young lady whose experience of ovarian cancer at just 23 is a stark reminder.
So to make sure you don't miss a thing, here is today's lineup in full.
We're actually laughing because there's a lot of people today. It was such a beautiful morning in London. They've all come in their summer clothes, and you've come in your summer shoes here, and then the sun's gone in, which is a bit of a
I didn't bring a coat today.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, summer's here. I organised a picnic for this afternoon, and sure enough.
Have a lift your shoes up. So there you go. That's what we're talking about.
I love them. So comfortable. I just live in them for the summer. No socks then.
Starting in March.
Yeah.
So Corrie's Graham Proctor arrived on the Cobbles back in 2008 and has since become a very loved character.
On Valentine's Day this year, he found out that his girlfriend's best friend, Sheen, will face deportation to China as her visa has run out.
Well, with all other options quickly ruled out, the lovable Graham soon becomes a man with a rather complicated problem.
I went for an interview yesterday.
Yeah?
But I didn't get it.
Well, if you just stick at it, you'll get there eventually.
You don't understand. I need to get a job now. My visa extension runs out in 2 months.
I run out of time, Tina. I run out of options.
You're right. Getting married is the only option.
Whoa, hang on a minute.
It's massive. We have to be very thorough. There's so much at stake. I'll be deported and you'll be sent to prison. What have the neighbors said about you splitting up?
Yeah, well, at least you're going about her 10 times!
I said come on!
So you want a gate crash at a wedding ceremony?
Basically, yeah.
Fine, whatever.
There is absolutely no way that it's going to be as easy as that.
Oh, and it's not. That's the trouble. It's not. Craig's here now.
Hello.
And he's a lovely guy, and he's got such a kind heart.
I know.
And this is running out of control now.
Yeah, it's a tangled web. That line is really pinnacle that you just played, where he says, she says, like, marry her, and then you'll go your separate ways. And he's like, I'll do it, but you've got to understand it is not going to be as easy as that, and it really isn't.
Well, their relationship's on the line now, isn't it?
Yeah, he's like, his girlfriend's like moved out of his flat, he's living on his own sofa. This girl that he's only known a few weeks is...
But also there's a bit of jealousy creeping in as well, isn't there? Because Tina's sort of beginning to think that maybe actually this isn't quite such a fake relationship that's going on. There might be something between him and Sheen, and also he's a bit concerned that suddenly Tommy Duckworth's turned up on the scenes and actually her eye might be being turned.
With Sheen, the thing is, it's a little bit like, I suppose, going in the Big Brother house, because he's been forced to live with this girl, so they've formed this kind of relationship. So there's a little bit of jealousy on Tina's behalf because there's this relationship and they're getting banter together. And then this good-looking guy comes in, one of the Duckworths, and Graham starts to get really jealous. He says to her about the fact that he's really good-looking and that he doesn't have a six-pack.
Don't you be like that.
We've actually got a clip that's sort of set around that time. Here you go, have a look. But he does have a spectacular tan. You say you put that line in.
Chris Fountain. Who's that with the tan? Yeah, I put that in, yeah. I had to.
Are you allowed to do that? So I
Not
didn't realise,
really.
Not really.
But they kept it in.
It was a good line.
It was good.
I can't believe we did a whole series of Dancing on Ice when he was tanned to within an inch of his life and we never called him Chris Fantan.
Mind you, he was never tanned quite as much as he is there.
I felt really bad because, like, because I don't know him, and I wanted to be polite, and then Ryan Thomas came in and went, what do you look like? And I went, I'm glad you said something, because I nearly went, whoa, whoa, whoa.
We said...
sunglasses.
We said yesterday he was looking like a mahogany sideboard. So the wedding is set for the 8th of April.
8th of April, yes, but we don't know what's going to happen.
No.
And you can't tell us.
No.
But you are leaving.
I am. This is my leaving story, so we know that
it's
it probably
not
doesn't
going
end
to go
that well.
Yeah. So why leave? Is it true that you, when you first started Corrie, that you wrote yourself a note?
I did, yeah.
And tell us what you wrote.
Post-it that said, don't stay longer than 2 years.
So why did you write that then?
Because I have lots of aspirations as an actor to have longevity and to show versatility and dip and dive into different jobs, and I kind of want to continue to do that, so I didn't want to lose sight of that. And it's been made really difficult to me. For one, a brilliant character, lovely people to work with, and a response that I couldn't have dreamt up myself, which was, you know, so... It's been amazing.
But I guess the great thing about having that and people loving Graham so much and the fact that he's fitted into the soap so beautifully is that you can go back, and presumably this wedding's not going to end with a death. So
no.
I hope.
Like, yeah, the first question has always been, why are you leaving? And then the second is, are you going to come back? And there was a thing in the paper yesterday that said that I said I'd never come back. It's absolute rubbish. What I said was, they've obviously read between the lines, is I said that... that people keep... I say I'm not thinking about that yet, because I haven't even left yet. But, so no, absolutely no. I'd love to come back. I think it'd be good to see him... I can't quite say my idea of how he may come back, because that would give away how he leaves. I'll tell you after. But I'd like to see him come back a bit different, perhaps.
OK. And so when you leave, because you've won the NTA for Best Newcomer, you've won the Soap Award for Best Comedy for Performance, you know, so the awards are building up on your shelf very nicely. What do you want to do now? Where do you want to go?
First thing first, I want to do a play. I want to get back to the theatre. This is the longest time I've had for not doing a play since I was 5 years old. And I really miss it and I love it. So I want to go back and do that. But I want to do various jobs. But given the opportunity, I'd really like to do some drama, do something completely different to Graham, and see that I can have depth in different work. And
And before that, you've got a marathon to run.
I have, yeah.
Did you do a 20-mile run yesterday?
Yes, Sunday.
On Sunday?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Gosh, well done,
I did it quite fast, and I'm quite good with my list. That was on my things to do before I'm 30, and I'm 30 next year, and I thought, right, I'm going to do it, so...
Who's your charity?
It's leukemia and lymphoma.
Yeah.
And they're a brilliant team, and we all kind of, there's
good
food
luck.
from Emmerdale, and we all like do it together, and yeah, it's really good.
I suggest you put trainers on for that and not the summer
And not
footwear,
these, because that
however.
will hurt. That's why I'm wearing these, to be gentle to my feet while I'm not running.
Thank you very
Lovely
much for
to
coming
see
in.
you,
Thank
and we
you.
wish you well, and we'll be watching on the 8th of April and see if you do actually go down the aisle.
Can I quick plug?
Of course you can.
Get everyone voting for Corrie. I think we need to win some awards for a brilliant year.
Yes, absolutely.
Soap, is this a
and
soap
it would be
British
the right
Awards.
year to do it because the Soap Awards this year is coming from Manchester.
Yeah.
We're all moving to Manchester to do it quite
Which
rightly.
is ironic, because I'm moving back to London.
Are you?
About the same week as...
We are actually, as a show, trying to avoid you.
That's what it is, isn't it? Please don't come, Gazey.
I did tell him we should have done it in Edinburgh. Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
very
Lovely
much
to see
indeed.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you
Boat
very
Corrie.
much.
Right, we have another first-class competition running all this week, which could see you £30,000 richer.
You could soon be a winner with £30,000 in cash, and it's tax-free. To prove this morning really is changing lives with all sorts of prizes, listen to this lucky lot.
Don't sit there and think about it. Do it. I did. Just do it.
I'm really starting to believe it now that this is for real. We have won £120,000.
Sounds good, doesn't it? Well, for your chance to bag that £30,000 cash, just answer this question correctly. Complete the title of the following Oscar-winning film. Chariots of A. Ice, B. Fire, C. Wind. Call 090 12 93 33 33. Calls cost no more than £1.03 from BT landlines. Calls from other networks may be higher, and from mobiles will be considerably more. Text your answer A, B or C to 83336. Text costs £1 plus one standard network rate message. Red Button viewers can enter by pressing their red button now or enter for free at itv.com. Entrants must be 18 or over, lines close at 5 p.m. on Sunday, and entries made after this time won't be counted but may still be charged. Best of luck.
Yes, good luck with that. Now, still to come, Phil Vickery samples more superb seafood, this time on the Welsh coast.
And with the UK's first fertility centre catering primarily for same-sex couples opening yesterday, we discuss what threat, if any, it could pose to the traditional parenting norm. That's straight after the break.
Welcome back. Still to come, we'll find out how our finalists Romy and Brad are getting on with today's final hair-raising challenge before one of them becomes Jamie's apprentice.
Phil Vickery goes foraging for seafood on the Welsh coast before cooking up more coastal cuisine at 11:10.
Yesterday, Britain's first fertility centre, which prioritises the needs of gay people, opened its doors.
Natalie Drew and Aisling Phillips decided to set up the centre after their own experience of having children using a sperm donor.
Broadcaster Anne Atkins has reservations about the clinic and the services it provides, as she thinks children should be raised by a man and a woman.
Well, Natalie Drew and her partner, Aisling Phillips, and Anne Atkins all join us now. Welcome. Thank you very much for coming.
Good morning.
So let's start with your story first, because you've been friends for 17 years and you've been together for 9 and realised quite quickly that you wanted to have a family. And so in about 2005 you started looking for a sperm donor.
Yeah.
And what did you experience? How was that as an experience?
We started in 2003 looking for the donor, and there wasn't many agencies out there that could help us with where we should go, or and we signed up with an agency and paid a fee, and that sourced us a donor, and then it was just down to our own arrangements to.
I suppose it's a bit of a minefield, really, because you don't quite know if you... Some sites were charging an awful lot of money, and you're not quite sure whether what you're getting is trustworthy or from a trustworthy source, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean...
And I think when we started out, when we looked at the clinics that were available, they were all very expensive and they were fertility-based for people who had fertility issues, and we were starting out and we didn't have fertility problems. We just obviously couldn't have a child together, and we needed somebody else to help us that was, like you say, from a reliable source and that we could trust. And at that time there wasn't a great deal of advice out there that was specifically aimed at same-sex couples.
Did you also find that you weren't sort of treated as parents, both of you? You found that the person who was carrying the baby was then given the medical care and attention and the support?
Yeah, particularly when we went to antenatal classes, I was kind of seen as just a friend that was coming along to just help Natalie out. Really, we weren't sort of perceived as being a couple that were having a child together like heterosexual couples would be, and it was similar, but a little bit sort of hit and miss really when it came to going for medical appointments and the actual birth. So
and the forms that when we went to different clinics to register to say we wanted to start a family, we were sort of, it was always, you know, man and wife, and none of the forms were adapted.
Right.
And that still is the case in a lot of clinics now. So, you know, even though you've made the inquiry and they welcome gay couples, when you go along, the forms haven't really been changed. And
so something you felt hugely strongly and passionate about, because after going through this experience yourself, you then decide to open the website first of all. Initially it was online, and then because of the response you got to that, then yesterday you opened the clinic. So tell me a little bit about what the clinic offers, the services that it offers.
We're mainly there to offer help and support and guidance, and just to basically help people understand what their options are, that they don't have to go down the fertility route. There is co-parenting arrangements, there are different alternatives to sort of the traditional fertility clinic if they haven't got fertility problems, obviously.
Well, your experiences have been quite broad because you carried your first baby, and that was Gianni, who's 5 now.
Yeah, she's
right?
5.
And then you carried the second baby,
yes.
And that is what's the name of your second baby? Kai, who's now 3, and that wasn't quite so straightforward.
No, Natalie conceived first time when we were trying for Gia, but it took sort of over 6 months for me to catch, and sort of within that time it was obviously quite stressful. We did go to the GP just for some advice really, and just some guidance, and he didn't really know where to direct us because we were a same-sex couple, and because we were using a sperm donor, he wanted to get the sperm donor in and have him tested, but we already knew that he didn't have any problems because we'd already conceived prior.
You put this down to sort of stress at the time, stress at work?
I'm a secondary teacher, school teacher, so sort of obviously the run-up to exams and things is quite stressful, and then as soon as we had sort of the downtime when some students have left.
But you'd used the same donor?
Yes.
And now that the children are older, is the donor daddy?
Yeah, they refer to him as daddy. We've got quite an unusual arrangement really, where they have contact with him a couple of times a year, and they see him, and we wanted them to sort of know who had helped us to have them. And as Gia's getting older, she does ask questions about our family being a little bit different now she's at school, and we just try to explain that our mummies love each other, but we couldn't have her together on our own, and we needed somebody to help us, and that's where
so it's very honest, very open.
Yeah, we just feel that's really important.
When this, I mean, yesterday this story sort of hit the papers and everybody was talking about it, and the one criticism that people, I mean, in our hub, we kept having emails saying the same thing, which was if there was a clinic that was solely for straight people, then the gay community would be up in arms. But that's not actually the case, is it? You prioritise gay couples, but if a straight couple were to come in, or an individual on their own, you would still offer the same service.
Yeah, of course. So I think they've picked up on that we said we're a gay fertility clinic, but it's just because we want to tailor our support and our advice from our own experiences, and obviously being a same-sex couple, we feel passionately about trying to help same-sex couples get the best advice and support that they can.
What sort of a response have you had?
It's been quite positive. We've had lots of phone calls since opening the offices, and people who want to come in and just have a bit of a one-to-one chat really about how we can help them and what they want.
Interestingly, Anne says that she thinks that Gianni and Kai are at a disadvantage. Why is that?
No, actually, and I was going to pick up something you said in your introduction, that children should be brought... I wouldn't use the word should be brought up by a man and a woman. Nobody could object. Nobody could reasonably object to what you do. It's privately funded, it's not discriminatory, it's from your own experience, and I wish you all the very best, because you are providing a service, and as I was saying before we came on, your fees seem to me to be extremely modest, and I'm sure you're providing something that a lot of people, you know, how could one possibly object to what you're doing? And I wish you well. No, as part of a much wider debate as to where we're going as a society, I am concerned when, actually not in your case at all, but when we start as taxpayers funding things that we're not necessarily, the majority of us had not necessarily gone down that route. Now, I, coming at this personally from a Christian point of view, and believe that the very best environment in a general way is a man and a woman committed to one another, married for life, faithful, exclusive. But hang on, that is the best, that is the ideal, right? Now, I've met Kai and Johnny, and they're gorgeous, and I'm sure you're wonderful parents, and actually, I think 2 gay parents are much nearer the ideal than 1 single parent. And yet, as taxpayers,
but didn't you say yesterday when we were in a research chat, did you say that the gay relationships are not as stable as straight relationships?
They aren't, generally speaking. I mean, that's a statistical truth. That doesn't mean to say that, that Natalie and Aisling
Is that a statistical truth?
Yes, it is. But, of course, one has to say, you could argue that that's because gay relationships are still not supported as much by society as straight relationships. But it is a statistical truth. Yeah,
by people like you saying that taxpayers necessarily should be funding it.
No, I don't think as taxpayers we should fund things that we haven't examined properly and know that they work and so on. And as I say, I'm much more comfortable with 2 loving parents of the same sex bringing children up than a single parent, although we have lots of, very good single parents. And as taxpayers, we fund IVF for single parents. And, so I have much more reservations about that kind of thing. But I simply think before we go, one can envisage a sort of situation where in 10 years' time people say, well, why haven't you got taxpayers funding, and why aren't we providing, this support for this? And I think we need a much wider debate about what
Isn't this just
society...
It just seems all a bit old-fashioned and knee-jerk. Oh, I don't approve. That's what it sounds like. The fact that taxpayers shouldn't necessarily be funding it, it all seems a little bit old-fashioned.
It's not old-fashioned at all to look at scientific data and say for instance, all the research shows that married couples are 5 times more stable and likely to stick together than cohabiting couples. That's not old-fashioned. That's simply scientific truth,
But
so
you
why
can't have that. You can't have that pigeonhole because life's not like that anymore.
No, yes, you can. Plenty of societies have said, here is a package that, as a society, we support and pay for, which we call marriage.
That's what we should say. This is the package we approve of, and everything else outside that we don't approve of. We won't pay for.
I think before we pay for something, we should be entitled to say, let's see what works as a general principle. And as a general principle, marriage works. So why, as taxpayers, are we paying for something that hasn't necessarily been proved to work?
Okay. What do you think?
I think that now gay families are becoming more popular, and it's only going to make relationships. It gives them that next step. You're creating a family unit, and then you've become part of society because you've got children that are going to school, going to college. You're having the same experiences as a heterosexual couple will have, and I think that's only going to make that we become more and more.
Are you funded in any way by the taxpayer?
No, nothing at all.
No.
I mean, just going back to what we were talking about before, you see, my belief, and again, I reiterate that I'm much more comfortable seeing children having 2 parents who love each other and are stable and are staying together. That is, I believe, much better than having 1 parent, although I'm not criticising people who find themselves in that situation. But the position I'm coming from, as I say, it's as a Christian position. That is not necessarily the majority view anymore, but I can only tell you what I believe. And the very first book I wrote was on gender roles, and I came to it, I mean, this is 20 years ago, the first book I wrote, and I came to it as intending to write a book about equality. And I found myself, over the 3 years of research that the book took, writing a book instead about interdependence, and I came passionately to believe in the complementarity of the sexes. Now, you can see, for the same reason I believe passionately the House of Commons should have a lot of women in it, because society needs women as well as men running it. And the most crucial place where you need, I believe, the contribution of both genders is the home, because children need difference. Now, they've got difference in you, in that you've got different personalities.
We have to leave it here, unfortunately, but I mean, obviously this is absolutely fascinating. There's never enough time.
No, and we could talk about this for another half hour,
we wish you the very best of luck with the service that you provide, and we'll throw this open now and see what you think. Obviously, you can get in touch with us. You can email us this morning at itv.com, and remember, we need your thoughts by midday if they are to go on there. Thank you, and very much indeed. Thank you both. Thank you. Here's today's competition.
This week, we're finding out what this morning prize winners from all over the country feel like when they win big.
some days I forget that we've won it, and then some days I go, oh my God, yeah, we really won £120,000.
She said, well, I'm pleased to tell you you won £30,000. I said, you're joking.
Would you like to be £30,000 better off and add your name to my winners list? Well, here's your chance, just by answering this question correctly.
Complete the title of the following Oscar-winning film. Chariots of A. Ice, B. Fire, C. Wind. Call 090 12 93 33 33. Calls cost no more than £1.03 from BT landlines. Calls from other networks may be higher, and from mobiles will be considerably more. Text your answer A, B or C to 83336. Text costs £1 plus one standard network rate message. Red Button viewers can enter by pressing their red button now or enter for free at itv.com. Entrance must be 18 or over, lines close at 5 p.m. on Sunday, and entries made after this time won't be counted but may still be charged. Best of luck.
Keep going. Just crushed it now. Today is the final of our junior hairdressing competition, Jamie's Apprentice. Over the last 5 weeks, they've done they've done battle with their blow dryers. They've taken their first snip with the scissors. They've styled celebrity clients, and they've completed a cut and colour masterclass.
And today, our two remaining finalists, Romy and Brad, have really got their work cut out, and we'll find out more about the final challenge in just a moment. But first, here's a reminder of their story so far. The competition to become Jamie's Apprentice launched back at the beginning of March, with Sarah, Mandy, Kieran, Jack, Brad and Romy all competing to win this career-defining opportunity. Week by week, they took on a series of hairstyling challenges, all against the clock. There's been some famous faces, a few models disappointed by their new do's, and last week, just a tiny bit of blood. Today, 17-year-olds Brad and Romy go head-to-head, but only one of them will become Jamie's Apprentice.
Today, Romy and Brad face their toughest challenge yet, to style 3 models each for the fashion item at the end of today's show.
Now, they both have to create 3 different looks corresponding to the 3 themes that the judges have set earlier on today.
OK, this morning you're going to be styling 3 models each for Jason's fashion section in the show, with different trends. So the first one
is vintage. So let's have a look at a VT to give you some inspiration.
1950s vintage. Hit TV show Mad Men helped to bring the vintage 50s style firmly back to the fashion forefront with the show's stars. Christina Hendricks and January Jones becoming instant style icons with the ladylike look. Another key vintage trend is rock and roll, as seen on modern day celebrities such as Sophie Ellis-Bextor. Such stars are always flirting with this 50s look. 50s hair is all about beehives, retro look and structure.
The second fashion element is romantic, so let's get some inspiration.
The romantic trend, it's a key style for spring-summer this year and is all about floaty fabrics such as chiffon and silk. Designers the world over have been flying the romantic flag this season, while celebrities such as Florence Welch have recently been spotted stepping out looking gorgeously girly. Romantic hair is all about waves and beautiful femininity. Your models for this part of the challenge will both be wearing real hair wigs. Your brief, to cut and to style the hair that suits the clothes. Be brave.
So the final one is the wild card. We gave you a one-word brief, OK? So let's have a look at what challenge that you have.
Romy, do you want to go first? OK, you got the 80s, so voluminous, big hair, texture, crimping and fun for you this week.
Bradley, let's have a look at yours. So you've got tribal, which is all about animal prints, plaits, and also lots of fun, OK? But also, part of the challenge is not just about the hair, you're also going to style the clothes yourself. How do you feel about that?
Excited, nervous.
Scared?
Very.
OK.
We've got you some help.
But don't worry, we've got Janice Dickinson on hand to mentor you, to give you some help today.
Hi, the wild card challenge is about creativity. And I'm here to help you choose your clothes. So we've got a lot of work to do. Let's get going.
Well, judges Jamie Stevens and Jane Lewis-Orr join us now, along with Janice Dickinson, and the guys have got a heck of a task ahead of them today. So what are you expecting from them?
So today, you know, you just sort of said this is such a tough challenge. You know, me, myself, being a professional hairdresser, I would have struggled in the timing for these 3 challenges. So we are looking for how they compose themselves. Again, like with the avant-garde challenge, it's about sort of thinking out the box, you know, being really, really creative.
But also, they've got to keep to the time, but also the finish is very important as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You know, especially sort of with TV, you know, we sort of said this challenge at the moment is about wigs, you know, and it's about making wigs not look like wigs. So they've cut them, they styled them.
They don't look like wigs to me. I mean, when you think of what we look like earlier on this morning, I know it's not difficult, but they really don't.
They look better than my real hair.
But the 2 wigs that you guys had on this morning were the same wigs as these 2.
Wow.
Yeah, so that just shows you how well they are doing.
That's quite good then.
So now, of course, the wild card test, where that came out of nowhere, took them by surprise, and that's then Janice, you're going to help there. What are you going to do?
I'm going to judge who exhibits the best hair for that particular trend, which was the 80s and tribal. Yeah, you know, and their relationship with the client.
So how did Romy do with her 80s styling?
I love what Romy does. I really do. I think Romy has a sense of that because she's so far off the 80s herself. She's probably born at the end of the 80s, so she wouldn't really know the 80s. But she has her finger on the pulse.
And then Brad had to do tribal, didn't he? So how did Brad get on?
Brad equally too is rock and tribal. I have to say that neither he nor she is better than worse than the other. Brad has a very soft, gentle approach, and I don't know how does it feel doing your hair? Great. Good. It's up to the client, really. All right. So I think
how do you both
equal.
feel? How are you right now? How are you both feeling?
Pretty good, actually.
Yeah, feeling calm.
Calm. Do you know? I must say,
actually, they've been very,
this
very
is probably the calmest I've seen them from the whole challenge.
How are you feeling, Brad?
That's because I'm here.
Oh, okay, yeah. Feeling good. Yeah.
Good. Very good. Well, we'll see the finished looks a little bit later on. Either Romy and Brad will become Jamie's apprentice.
After the break, Phil Vickery's Coastal Cuisine. We're back in a minute. Don't go away.
On HD.
Feel closer with Nivea, the nation's favourite skincare.
Welcome back. On his mission to sample the best foods of Britain, especially British seafood, this week Phil Vickery went off to Wales.
Whilst there, he went searching for sea cucumbers and met some men who know all about the art of growing mussels.
Today, my journey takes me to the beautiful coast of North Wales. Wales might have 1,700 miles of coastline, but the fishing industry here is pretty tiny. It only produces about 2% of Britain's total catch.
But there's a shellfish in Wales they have in abundance, and that is the mussel. And here in Conway, they're said to be as good as they get. Well, let's see what all the fuss is about.
This beautiful historic town is like stepping back in time. Not only in architecture, but in the way they fish too. I'm out on the water with Trevor Jones, one of the local mussel men, whose family have been fishing the estuary for generations. Legally, in this area, they have to use a traditional raking method as opposed to the more modern trawlers or rope-grown mussels.
So show me how it's done then, Trev.
Yeah, OK, then well, the rake's on the bottom now.
Yeah.
And you've got to sort of work it along the seabed. You can feel the mussels.
So what are they attached to underneath?
Well, they're attached to little stones, cobbles, things like that. Some days you find a better patch than others.
So it's still largely hit and miss, well, you obviously know where you're going.
Yeah, I've got a good idea where we need to be, but it is hit and miss, yeah.
Is it quite secretive? I mean, would you tell your mate over there how many you've got?
No, if I was on a good pass now, I'd tell him there was nothing here.
Would you?
Yeah.
Oh, nothing here.
And he'd do the same, yeah.
Would he? Oh, wow, look at those. Wow, look at that lot. Look at that. You happy with that?
Yeah, yeah.
So all the dead ones here then, or the ones that aren't good enough, you chuck them back there?
Yeah, not here. We save them all up
back
to Conway with us, and then they'll be sorted up there. And the ones we want we'll keep, and the ones we don't want we'll bring them back down the next
so
time.
that, do you?
Yeah.
Do that again?
Yeah.
Trevor's son Tom is based at their processing plant today. He's learnt the trade from his dad. The mussels will arrive every day, be purified in filtered seawater before being sold.
So Phil, these have been in the tanks now for 48 hours.
What's this stuff here?
This is, the mussels create this themselves with this is protein and that from it. So they've created that from being in here.
So when you go to the beach sometimes, you see it blowing on the beach. This
yeah,
is this?
That's what it is. It's a good sign. It shows that
it?
all the mussels are alive as well.
Oh, look at that one.
Yeah.
If that's dead, it'd be
open all the time.
Wow, and that would just go in with it?
Yeah. They're used to living in water, so obviously if they're alive and they get taken out of water, they'll close to protect themselves.
That's cool.
If you pop that back in, it'd open again and filter again.
Really?
So this is the last part of the process now. They're going to get it clean now, and then bag ready for market.
Okay.
Can you give us a hand there?
Yeah.
Just chuck him in here.
Just all in?
Yeah, all in.
Obviously, you're the new age of this business.
Yeah.
Are you going to take it on and carry on, do you think? Or?
Yeah, hopefully, yeah, as long as the market's there for it and we can stay in business, I'll be doing it for the rest of my life.
And your kids as well, hopefully?
Yeah, hopefully I'll carry it on as well with my kids.
Well, we've seen it from start to finish. It's been a really interesting day, but I need to take a couple of kilos myself.
Yeah, no problem, Phil.
Can you sort it out? £4.50?
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll pay you.
These are about half the price of supermarket mussels, which goes to show that it's always worth looking at local suppliers for a bargain. With a taste for that, I'm heading west to the stunning Menai Straits by Anglesey. The waters here are renowned for their cleanliness, so much so that the sea salt carries the Soil Association's organic certification. I'm meeting Jung Haider, an expert in foraging wild food from the coastlines and mountains of Wales. He's usually commissioned to find for top London restaurants, oh, and the Queen too. But today, he's helping me find the rest of my lunch. So what actually is foraging?
Well, foraging, I suppose, it's something we've been doing for hundreds, if not thousands of years. It's in all our blood. And it's really searching out wild food.
Do you have to be careful what you're looking for?
You've got to be extremely careful. There are so many plants that look like other plants.
How do the things that you forage for go with seafood, do you think?
Down by the sea, naturally, sea vegetables or vegetables growing on the shore here or above the tide line are obvious complements to a seafood.
Can we go and pick some?
We certainly can.
So this here?
This is it, sea purslane. It's lovely, and it's a very easy plant to identify because of the woody stems to it.
Can I try one now?
Please do it. I think you'll find
Oh, wow.
rather good.
It bursts of that salt flavour.
That's lovely.
It looks like a cabbage.
Well, I mean, you hardly need to use salt when you're cooking with these
No,
plants.
let's say. OK, next one.
Just above the seashore and on the lane here, we've got this beautiful plant, Alexander's. So what we're looking for is right down here, the base of the plant. Just cut right at the root.
So not the top?
Not the top. You can eat the leaves,
Yeah.
but they're really quite bitter. What do you think of that?
Wow. There's always like a sweet flavour to it.
So again, just above the tide line, we find this amazing plant, sea beet. As you can see, a lovely thick leaf. It cooks really well.
With all our sea vegetables found, Yun and I are going to cook up a recipe to perfectly complement my Conway mussels.
Now, it's a very simple process. This is the beard, and this is what attaches the mussel to the rock or the rope so it can't get off. And you need to just, with a knife, get rid of that as well. And the barnacles, start at the top and just with a knife like that, scrape the mussel clean. It's very simple. If you get any of them open like that, then just throw them away. The chances are they're dead. It's no point. What I've got here is chorizo, and I love it with mussels. I think it works also beautifully with oysters, but I just think that into the pan, nice hot pan, not too much because it's quite pungent. We'll just get that cooking down a little bit. And then your Alexander's, just chuck that now. Colour, look at that.
Well, we've also got the sea purslane.
That at this point?
I reckon simple as that.
OK, cool. Like that, and then we'll have a splash of wine.
I'll let Chef judge it.
Like that. Lid on. And I reckon that'll take about 4 to 5 minutes. Right, while they're cooking, we need a side dish, and we're going to gently poach the sea beet, aren't we, or steam it.
That sounds good, yeah.
Right, they should be cooked now. They are huge, aren't they?
Impressive mussels.
Aren't they
Give you that.
just?
Now it's good enough for the Queen, so hopefully you'll enjoy it.
This is an absolute first. Mmm.
That was quite special.
Wow. I'm really blown away by that.
I'm pleased.
Gosh, that's fantastic.
Wow. Available on the coast near you.
Food for free.
Oh, see, I love that. If I was to do that on a beach, within seconds there'd be someone coming up in a hat saying, I'm afraid you can't light that here, mate.
So right.
It looks brilliant.
Right, time to find out what's coming to the hub so far this morning. Colleen!
Well, as you can imagine, loads and loads of comments coming in on the gay parent debate. A few people agree with Anne Atkins that a child should have male and female parents. Paul has emailed in and says, I'm against the idea of gay parenting or gay fertility. How do you expect to produce a child without the essential components for the job? It's biologically and morally wrong.
Oh.
Interestingly, David McGow, I'm a gay man and do not believe gay men or women should have children. We are too promiscuous as a minority, and not only that, it's not fair on the children who could become victims of bullying. However, the overwhelming majority of viewers feel that as long as a child has loving parents that care for them, that should be the most important point. We've had an anonymous email in that says, my wife is currently 4 months pregnant with a surrogate baby for a gay male couple. The reason my wife chose to help the couple is because she knows that they will make fantastic parents. The baby has been carefully thought about, and I'm incredibly proud of my wife for choosing to do this.
Wow. Fascinating. Very good. Thank you very
Colleen.
much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Well, still to come today, Gina De Campo's Potato Bake, and the winner of Jamie's Apprentice, and also Benidorm's Mateo is here as well. We're right back after the news. Don't go away.